Okay, so thank you so much for all to join this session and having showing interest in this tool. My tool name is Nightingale, which is if I conclude it's the nature of this tool, it's a Docker image and Docker image for Pentester. So let's get started. So before jumping to the actual presentation, actual demonstration of the tool, what exactly tool is doing, and what are the tools and what are the configurations and what are the programming language this tool has been supported. So before jumping into that, so let me tell you the problem statement. So why, and with that problem statement, I will clear each and everything like why I created this application or two. So I am doing bug bounty like 3 or 3.5 years back. So I have to create a separate environment in the virtual machine. And to create a separate environment in the virtual machine, we need to install multiple programming languages support, like due to the nature of the various tools or various open source tools, we can say, which we use in a bug bounty process for any of the target, whether it can be web, whether it can be mobile or network or anything. So I have to take a 1 day from from morning. I will start like configuration of the tool and installing all the programming languages and set up the configuration files for specific tools like they require some configuration, some external configuration and other part of the stuff. So I have created that environment, and next day or after some day, like again when I start my virtual machine, it got crashed. Now the problem is when once your virtual machine got crashed, it's pretty tough for me as well. Like I faced this to not able to recover that particular instance, and my complete data, my complete tool installation, and my complete configuration, including the programming languages installation, completely got purged, and I have to create, I have to make, I have to follow all the steps again and again after after some period of time. So with that only Nightingale came into an existence, and I thought this solution will be a better solution in terms of start doing pen testing or start doing any testing in any of these scope. So before jumping to actual presentation, actual introduction of this tool, so let me tell you about myself. So I'm Raja Nagori, and I work as IS consultant second at FIS Global. There is an organization in India which is named as ISAC, and from that organization, I got this title that Cybercrime Intervention Officer, where we usually take some cybercrime cases and interact the local police stations to help them to provide some useful insights with them and to discuss about the same about any of the cases. I am also a Senag Red Team member. I am contributing to OWASP community by providing the best the knowledge with the best of my knowledge, and I create videos on YouTube. So currently I have created a playlist for mobile pen testing in Android specifically, and I write blogs on various technical specifications regarding mobile pen testing, regarding any bug bounty sort of uh, procedure that we have to follow for a certain or for a specific vulnerability. Apart from my all technical things, I play guitar for the Indic music. So this is my part-time, what we can say, my part-time uh, entertainment sort of thing. So I do this for my fun only. So coming to the introduction of the Nightingale. So about the Nightingale, so Nightingale is nothing but a completely based on the Docker technology. And this Docker technology, I have created a Docker file for like providing all the configuration and all the other stuff. We will see in the later slide, like how I create the architecture of this particular tool and how you able to connect or how you able to run the container for the same. Okay, so let's talk about some features of this tool. So Nightingale is a platform independent. So what exactly does it mean? Like if any of the operating systems support Docker, Nightingale can be able to run on that particular operating system. So whether it can be Mac OS, whether it can be Linux, Ubuntu, Mint, whatever suits you, and whether it can be Windows 11 or 10. So I think Docker is something like it is it can be run in each of the operating system. So Nightingale has the multiple programming language. So now this point is something like you can relate when you have to install Python, when you have to install Go language, when you have to install Node with the use of NVM, when you have to use, install Java. So you have to run some commands according to the operating system. So if we talk about Windows, then you have to download the exe files. If you talk about Linux, then you have to download the Debian file or like by installing the utilities. And in Mac OS, there is again a brew which again used for installing these utilities. But in Nightingale, you don't need to install anything. Once you up the container, once you start the container, all your programming languages will be installed and will be there for the use of further task or the further operation you will be going to perform. Now the third point is booting is very fast. Now booting is something like we can relate when we start our machine, start our host machine or the main machine we can say, and it will take time to load all the background processes, all the functionalities, all the services which is necessary for start the host service or the machine. Now booting is very fast. Now exactly does it mean is like this container, this Nightingale will take not more than when you like you just blink of an eye and it will start and it will ready to use like a setup tool. So you don't need to wait for 1 to 2 minutes to just boot up that particular process and start working on that. Our second point, next point is all tools installed already. Now, what exactly does it mean? Like all the tools which may be required or which is required at the time of pen testing as per your requirement. So let's say if you're working for testing a network, I mean, a bunch of IPs, right? Now you required Nmap for the same. So you can use that particular tool, and that tool is already installed in your Nightingale. So you don't need to run apt get install and nmap. So it will install that particular thing, and then you will be start working on that. So that complete process has been done at the time of image building, at the time of Docker image building. So now if you want to use let's say nmap, then you just need to type nmap and you will be work like a pro. Now it is very easy to set up. So you don't need to configure anything during the setup of this Nightingale. So what you have to do is like install the Docker engine in your respective operating system, and you don't need to worry about anything regarding the setup of the same. And the very last point, I mean, not last, it's actually the second last point is it is for the CLI lovers. Now, those who's working, who likes working in the command line tools or working with those tools which provide you data over the terminal in a specific format. So that tool is for those. But if anyone don't love that CLI part, they can also love this tool because this is completely and this is very fast, and you will getting all the tools pre-installed. You don't need to do anything. Now the main part is Nightingale will cool down your frustration level. I mean, that frustration level is like I told you in the problem statement, like that frustration when your configured virtual machine got crashed every time. And in Nightingale, so somehow, some way your container got crashed and your data will not crash, your configuration will not crash, your installation tools will not crash or will not purge anyway. So once you again start your container, all your configuration, all your installation tool, programming language support, data, everything will be there. You don't need to worry about like your data will be lost or anything else like that usually happen in virtual machines. Okay, so before jumping to again the demonstration, let me tell you the concept of like a little concept about Docker, what exactly Docker is and why I choose this Docker. So if we talk about virtual, so before jumping to the actual difference for this, let me tell you one thing. I'm not telling like the virtual machine is not good at in this particular Nightingale. it is good, but there are some pros and cons. So what I believe is like, so that's why I choose the Docker technologies to create this Nightingale. Okay, so now coming to the difference. Okay, so in virtual machine, there is a concept called hypervisor, and above of that, there are multiple guest operating system, and those guest operating system has their own binaries and libraries and other services, which usually we see in our host machine or main machine. And on the top of that, we are running a separate application so that we can like bifurcate all the application according to the guest operating system. Now, if we talk about a containerization system, so there is an operating system, which again our main machine, and there is a container engine, which is nothing but a Docker engine or the Docker software, which irrespective of their operating system. And at the top of that, there are images which contains binaries, libraries, and other services which normally required at the for any of the operating system. So, and on the top of that, each of the Docker image or image, we can say, has their application, and they are like you can communicate with each of the application. And you, if you don't want to communicate any of the application and you want to run separately, then you can do that also. There are some configuration in the Docker at the time of creating the Docker container. So there are some configuration, and with that configuration, you can able to like disconnect a specific application to the network. So this is the main concept. This is the very basic concept, and this is very highlighted concept that, for which like I choose that Docker technologies for creating this Nightingale. Okay, so I have created one file that is practice mantra, and which says like I believe in hands-on practice. So let's jump to the practical implementation, how we can go with that demonstration and the source code of the tool. Just a second.
For all of us, especially developers, and I see that the image that you're trying to that you have developed, of course, for us would be very useful, especially for everyone who likes to use command line interface, especially. I see that you're ready to continue with our presentation, so I will give the word to you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so let's go to the architecture of this application. And for the architecture of this application, it is very simple, very readable in format. Like you don't need to like you will not be able to confuse in that particular thing, like how we can go with the step-by-step procedure for the same. So for every category, I have defined these categorization for like every scope, whether it can be word list. I can also consider as a scope because we are using these as a fuzzing or like directory enumeration and other part of the brute forcing and other part of the methods that we usually perform in our methods in our task or in our daily job. So all these files, I mean, in the Docker folder files, all the categorization of the files has been available. And if we talk about, let's say, web VAPT. So, but before jumping to that, let me show you that programming languages. So that programming languages, we usually start with pulling the Debian file, which is again a base file, we can say, and followed by all the library installation that is required for any of the Linux environment, which we usually do once we install Ubuntu system or Mint or any other Linux flavor for the same. We usually do update and upgrade to update all the libraries that has the upgrade for this specific version or specific library, and followed by installation of the Python 3 module, followed by Java module, I mean Java programming languages, followed by Go language, followed by Node.js. And once all the configuration setting has been done, I have just clear all the unnecessary things from the image just to make the less size of this particular image. Now that is very important. That programming language file is very important. So that will depend on the other categories or other files of the same. So if we talk about web, so I have just taken this particular programming language because I have already created that images So I will not take any of the another data, like another new data for the same. So I'll take the data from this particular image and I move further for installing all the tools which is required at the time of web penetration testing. So like the architecture goes like, I have created again a build essential that is again required because that will only provide you the data which is available on the home directories or any of the directory which has the I mean static data or static files. But it will not provide anything like module installation, library installation. So everything will take care with this particular image, and the rest of the thing will take care by the image, by the update and upgrade command. So now we have the support of Python and Go, Node.js, and Java languages. So next, I have created the directories, and that directory is nothing but like I just cloning all the required tools in the specific folder so that we will not confuse in any way. And I have created the environment variable for the same. And with that environment variable, we can call this particular directory wherever we want in this particular code. So that is again a very a plus point for this. Like if I want to call this particular grep pattern somewhere else in the code, so I can just put this dollar and followed by curly braces and provide the environment variable for the same, which is very normal in Linux machines, which we all usually doing the same in our day-to-day life. So coming down to this particular thing, so like I just take this particular directory and just cloning all the tools which is required for you, like for required at the time of testing. Then so after cloning the I mean repository, it automatically create the folder. So I just go to that folder, run the Python commands, and it will come automatically set up all the things, all the I mean required things for the same. So that is particularly done for the web application, web VAPT thing. So once if you install setup file or any module installation, so it will goes into the library system, which is not copied from one OS to another OS. So for specifically this file, I have to run this these installation module file. So if I change the Docker file, we have to again install these module because of the nature of the modules of Python. So like we have the programming language support, but we have to install all the modules for the same. And next, again, I just install AMRs and other part of the application. And again, I did like I remove all the unwanted things for the same. And it is the concept is same for all the files which is mentioned here. Like if we talk about OSINT and see if we have already the programming language support, what we are doing is like we are just like installing all the requirement things sort of for these of the tools. And coming to the main file, now main file has something like it is already mention it is already taking the data from the other images, other file images. Now these are the other file images. Now it is copying the content of the image from this particular directory to this directory. Now this particular directory is nothing but I have mentioned this here. Now this complete configuration work as a separate image, and these images are work as a separate image. Now, if I want to copy data from one image to another image, then this particular configuration will work here. So now this is the working of what we can say, the working of this. I mean the architecture of this tool. Let's jump to the demonstration part of Nightingale. Okay, so this is my repository. You can just type user colon Raja Nagori. So you will be getting this particular repository in your machine. And I have mentioned each and every detail, the very bare minimum and bare basic detail in this particular README section. where you will be able to get that like about the pros and cons and whatever I just told you in the very beginning of this presentation. So here, if we go with okay, if anyone wants to check the architecture diagram, like to better understanding the better way to understand this thing, so you can download that also. But it seems like yes. So if you want to see the architecture, so these all are the separate Docker files. All the content are copied to the main file. All the configuration are set up place in that directory, and other modulation installation binaries, and then it will create a main image for Nightingale. So coming back to the list of the commands that you have to run. So there are two ways to create this image. Either if you can just pull this particular image, the pre-built image from the Docker hub, and if you want to alter some configuration here, and if you want to create your own Docker image, then you can just follow these commands. And so I'm just skipping all the creating images and creating the container for the same. I just going to the direct command which is required to start the container. So I have already started the container, but for the demonstration purpose, I just changed the port. Okay, so let me tell 600 and 6007. Okay, so I have just changed the port number. So just check it. It will create like a unique number for the container, and it just started. So it will not take that much time to start the container. If we can see here, we have running this particular container 6006. As I have already created a new container, so let's jump into the tool. Okay, so this tool is again, as I have already mentioned in my previous slides. So it is a CLI, complete page CLI thing. So, okay, I think I have, okay, cool. So here you can see, like as what I have told, these are the categorization of the scope of this tool. Like if you want to work with the VAPT tools, then there is a folder. If you want to work as an OSINT, then there is a folder. So same goes like after creating the Docker image or after pulling the Docker image. So if we want to, let's say, okay, if you want to go with web VAPT, so there are n number of tools, not n number of like there are specific number, but we can install n number of tools, what the number of which you want to install in your machine. So that's not an issue. So it will not make any impact, make any load on this particular container. So let's say if I want to use the search. So there is okay. So if I go with let's say Python 3 dot search. So as you can see here, I'm able to run this particular tool, which is again used for finding the directories, the directory enumeration for any of the URL. So this is how it will work. Now there are some multiple features which I haven't shown in the first slide, in the very first beginning of the slide, because I want to show that practically. Now the thing is, so you can relate this particular feature, this particular thing, like if you are working in a Linux environment or Windows environment or Mac environment, you are just putting multiple tabs, multiple terminals, like you set up these terminals in the screen just to set up, just to take all the data relatable to, what data you are getting from one terminal and what other data you are getting from the another terminal. So just go through with all the things. So in our browsers, there is a feature, there is a functionality. We can say you can open up to 99 tabs at a time. So in that 99 tabs, you can just open the another instance of this particular Nightingale thing. So let me open that. 6006. Okay, cool. So now, as you can see, I have like just to show you, just to demonstrate you the thing, I have just run this particular command and it shows all the menus, all the parameters for this particular tool. And when I hit that another tool, another new terminal, another new tab, so the complete data is a new session for the previous one. So the thing is, it is completely independent what you are doing in the previous tab and what you will be going to do in your very new and very new session or the new terminal of this Nightingale. So let me done a very simple command.
Of course,
I
Raja, it's
think,
normal for this
yeah.
things to happen because we're on a live demo. Do not worry
Yes.
about that. I think the presentation is going very well. I would also like to remind everyone, if they want to pose you questions, feel free to do that on the Q&A section. We will answer them by the end of our session. And also, if everyone wants to contact you later, they can do that on your media platforms. I would like to say that Raja is very qualified in his sector, I would say. He's also holding the Certified Ethical Hacker certification. Kudos to that. You think we can resume now and continue with our presentation?
Yes. So
Great.
like, okay. So should I continue?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Uh, yeah, thank you. So somehow the nmap is not working. So we can go with the Metasploit. So if I type msf console, then it will run. It will definitely run because of the configuration, which again, let me show you the configuration. So for the Metasploit configuration, it is very simple. What we are usually do is like just pull the script from this particular GitHub user contained and rapid server line and just run that particular by providing the executable permission for the tool. But what I have did like I had just created the configuration for DB which create a blank database which we have to done at the time of like when we freshly install Metasploit and we have to create the database for the same. That init is nothing but creating the services, and here this database.yml is nothing but it has the configuration for the database. So let me tell you the configuration um, config and database.yml. So here you will be seeing like the database name, the database user, the password. You can change your password as per your requirement, your like whatever suits you. And the host, again, it is very common. Like we will run all this particular database in the container itself. But if I want to access this particular database, then what we can do is like we just go to the Docker container command and we will provide a port forwarding for 5432, which is port for the post figure. I mean Postgres, and we will provide a port for which we are going to use in our post machine. So in that way, everyone can able to like connect this particular instance of Postgres into your host machine. So this is how the configuration of Metasploit. And yes, beautiful Metasploit banner has been just raised. So you can do anything which you want. Let's say search, search, exploit. So it will provide you all the list which you usually do in your virtual machine. So everything you are doing is which is common in this particular tool. Now there is again a one which I again want to not show, not want to discuss in the very first slides, but I want to show in the demonstration slides. So let's go with a big part of mobile pen testing. Okay. So there are two things. The very first thing is like you have to connect your Android device to the ADB driver to just communicate with your Android device. But in iOS, like if you want to connect, then you have to create with the SSH connection. That is very common. So if we go here, like you will be getting the option for SSH, so you don't need to worry about that because I have the limited resources. I have only the Android device right now, the rooted Android device. So I can't be able to show the demonstration of iPhone, but for the Android, let me tell you how we can connect to the ADB and how we can go forward for the same. So for Metasploit, I mean, for the MobSF configuration, you have to perform these configuration, and for that, there is a virtual environment, Python virtual environment. You can see here VENV. So what you have to do is like just paste this particular command. Okay. So by this command, it will activate your Python virtual environment. Okay. Now what you have to do is like there is a file run.sh which I have already provide the executable format. So we can just run.sh 0.0.0.0, which is again like you can call each and every network adapter for this, but by providing this IP, and we have to provide a port which we have mentioned here. So now 8080 8081 is nothing but a port for like providing the MobSF. So you have to provide here is 60. I mean, sorry, you have to provide 8081 as far as yes, and provide by N so that it can run in the background. So as you can see here, we have just run our MobSF environment and it is running. So once you click the enter, it will goes again down to the background, and you won't be able to check what all the processes is doing. Now, if we go here and we have to run the port 6007. Now there is a game change, and the game change is nothing but a very small thing change. So 8081, which I run inside the container, and 6007, which I use as a port forwarding. Now, this port forwarding work only on our host machine, so that you can able to access whatever you are running inside the container, and like whatever you want to access on your host machine. So this is how this beautiful tool again will pop up. You have to upload the APK and do your other stuff. So that is the automated part. But if you want to, let's say, connect your Android device, connect with your Android device inside that container, then again there is a great tool called ADB, ADB Connect, and 192.168.29.66 colon 5555. It will take time. Okay, just a second, please.
Raja, thank you very much. I would just like to let you know that as for currently, it's only visible the VS Code, and we cannot see how you're performing and what you're writing. So if you could perhaps reshare your screen, and everyone would like to see your screen whenever you are writing a certain comment. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought we have just okay. Just a quick one
It's
will share
okay.
you.
It's not a problem. It's just because everyone would like to see how your presentation is going, because it's really interesting to all of us. Thank you.
Please let me know what screen is visible to you, like the the terminal one, right?
Yes, now we can see.
Okay, okay. So like a quick one. Again, like this particular MSF console which I have run, so you can run each and every command from like whatever you've done in your Linux machine. So like it is completely same. The nature of this particular tool is completely same. What you are doing in let's say in your Kali Linux environment, in your FerretOS environment, in your uh, Ubuntu operating system environment, and any of the environment. So again, if we go with the mobile pen testing, so these are the functionality, these are the features which I haven't discussed in the very few slides of the presentation, but I want to demonstrate like live demonstration for the same, so that it can be like easy to understand the things. So like for the Metasploit, again, this is like I have just run this particular command. So, and these terminal, which again I will repeat this thing. So these terminal are completely independent to each other. So whatever you are doing here, it is completely different. Now, if we go with the mobile pen testing, I had run this MobSF thing. So that will come. So you will provide all the steps in the README section. So you will go through with that. So and if anything like make any hurdle for the same, you can just ping me anytime on my social media platform. So, okay, coming to that, I have just created the MobSF environment and it created and it started inside the 6007, which I have bind the port forward. Now, if I want to connect my physical device to this particular container, then I just run this ADB command and the IP address and the port, which is again a default port for Android. So it is already connected. It is showing because I have just authenticated the request. So now if I want to run ADB shell, so if you can see here, the terminal got changed, the user got changed. And if we go to the root user, I'm also able to root that because that phone is rootable phone, rooted phone. So if I run who am I, you can see the root user. If I want to PM list packages, so you can see all the packages which is running inside that particular device. So it is again very simple and also like above Android 11, there is a very great functionality to run this Android and Android debugging over the TCP. So I have connected over the TCP. There is no USB has been connected. So this is how the demonstration, this is how the working, this is how the architecture, and this is how the installation part of the Nightingale. So I'm done with my the demonstration thing. So any questions?
Thank you, Raja, again
Thank
for your
you.
presentation. It was wonderful. It's very nice to see that we can have a Docker image to contain every single tool that we need as a penetration tester. And for now, we do not have any feedback from everyone. I think this is because your presentation was so detailed and we understood everything that you were trying to show to us. One more time, I would like to thank the attendees for being part of our conference and Raja, of course, for his presentation. I would encourage everyone to stay on the Zoom call and see other sessions. Hope to see you guys again soon, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.